Which is the most exciting country to build a Tesla plant in right now?
Well, we did make an announcement that Mexico would be our next location outside the US, and picked a site and everything. So there's that, and then we'll probably pick another location towards the end of this year.
Is India interesting?
Absolutely.
Welcome to Electrified. It's your host, Dylan Loomis. So first up today, we know Elon has guessed that the Cybertruck will do maybe 250 to 500,000 Cybertrucks per year once fully ramped. But is that a global figure? How global is the Cybertruck going to be? Still some unanswered questions. Either way, we have a nice simple chart here from Sam Corris at ARK Invest showing us the best-selling pickup trucks in the United States last year. So if Elon's guess becomes right, then that would slot the Cybertruck somewhere between 3rd and 4th place on this list if the numbers stayed the same for the top 3. In case you're new though, there's a Tesla effect, which is just certain car buyers are either spending up to go from ordinarily spending a lower amount on a vehicle to get into a Tesla, and we're going to have a similar effect with people that would ordinarily never consider a pickup truck that are most likely going to buy a Cybertruck. Of course, Elon's guesstimate will be heavily reliant on the price of the Cybertruck, which hopefully we get sooner rather than later so people waiting for this can make their plans. Speaking of Cybertruck, Elon said we're working hard to get Cybertruck into production. This was a tough product to design and even tougher to build, but it will be great. And what do we have here? Jared saying he just subscribed to the FSD subscription 5 days ago and now he's in. What does this mean? Well, looking at the screenshots, we have FSD version 11.3.6 now on the 2023.12.10 branch. What this means is that new people are now again entering the FSD beta program. You may recall earlier this year, NHTSA ordered a recall for the FSD beta because it was breaking some local traffic laws. So Tesla then made some adjustments and released fixes to those problems in March. But at the time, the FSD program was not yet available to new beta subscribers. So after a few months of users just entering a queue for FSD beta, it looks like with this latest release on an updated software branch, now new users can actually get the FSD beta. You may recall on Friday, Elon tweeted 11.4.2 would be rolling out over the weekend. So some people were surprised that we now have an older version, 11.3.6, that's actually going out to some of these new users. Sadly, I can't give you advice for which software branch to update from or even to unless it's this one exactly, because with these rollouts, there are really never any guarantees. But what I can confirm is there are many users across social media now entering the FSD beta program for the first time, which is always a very exciting thing. So I'm not ready to say all, but at least right now, most users who actually want the FSD beta in the regions where it's currently available can now actually have access to the program. We got the latest weekly insured data for Tesla China, that number 10,200. So plugging that data into our table, if you wanted to compare to week 7 of quarter 1, that number was 5,913. But remember, at that time in quarter 1, parts of Tesla China were shut down for Model 3 line upgrades. More importantly, from week 1 quarter 1 to week 7 quarter 1, Tesla did 47.1 thousand units. And comparing that to quarter 2 week 1 to quarter 2 week 7, that number was 67,000 units. So quarter 2 off to a much better start. Pause if you'd like. Here's that same data in bar chart form. I have been trying to track down BYD's weekly insured data, but I have not yet been able to find it. Here we have Tesla launching phase 4 of its South Australian virtual power plant, which is actually enabling more low-income families to actually benefit from renewable energy. In this phase, an additional 3,000 households will benefit, and for the first time, this project will also include households within the community housing sector. Of importance, the $33 million expansion is being funded entirely by Tesla. This program is providing housing tenants with the cheapest electricity in the state. Before phase 4, there were already 4,100 households with solar and Tesla Powerwalls in this program. Now that number will be pushed over 7,000. If you're in Canada, check the Tesla inventory for some of these China-made Model why rear-wheel drive vehicles now showing up in inventory. And when you find a listing that you like, then you just check the URL of that website and you can actually see the VIN. So you'll want to look at the first 3 digits. If it says LRW, that's made in Shanghai. Using the Tesla VIN decoder, digits 1 through 3 are the manufacturer code. As far as I can tell though, there were only a handful available. I'm talking maybe less than 10, so just wanted to let you know. Tesla has proposed a new 53,000 square foot service and sales center in Fort Worth. This location would offer maintenance and a place for new owners to pick up their cars. This would be Tesla's second location in Fort Worth, but no timeline has been given. Apparently, Tesla has plans to have booths at all of the Electrify Expo tour stops that is now underway. What does this mean? Well, thousands of people that will get to experience a Tesla. Tesla had the whole sexy lineup on display, and why I really like these events because Tesla was actually offering ride and drive lines pretty much all day. And here's a list of the upcoming Electrify Expo stops. We know what happens when we get butts in seats, and the creator of the Expo said we're bringing out consumers with real purchase power that have the power to really move the needle. Just a quick check-in on Tesla's inventory in Europe. As you can see, over the past week, it's been steadily trending down. This does not include vehicles in transit. This is just actual listings in the European market. And the numbers given on these charts do not account for the full number of inventory, because if Tesla has 10 cars of the same variant, it's only going to list 1 variant even if they have 10 available. Now looking at US inventory for the last 50 days, you can see the Model X and the Model 3 that had the highest numbers have also started ticking down.
You have a very big business in China, in Tesla. And obviously, you're on that geopolitical fault line that's getting potentially interesting. To what extent is this affecting your decision-making?
Well, there is fundamentally an issue that's coming to a head with Taiwan. And it's unclear when exactly push will come to shove, but it seems that there's a good chance push will come to shove. It's trending in that direction. I dread to think what they would happen. The results would be for the global economy would be absolutely catastrophic. But China has been very clear about its goals, One China, and including Taiwan as part of China. So China and Taiwan they're like conjoined twins with the Western economy, with the rest of the world. So China and the rest of the world being conjoined twins from an economic standpoint will mean that the separation is going to be dire indeed. Thanks for the offer. So I will certainly strongly consider England for a future location of a Gigafactory.
Thank you. I'll get you the...
So you will consider it? Are you actively considering it?
We're not currently looking at new locations, but we will probably towards the end of this year.
Not much Tesla news in this conversation, a lot of Twitter, SpaceX, AI, but I'll have this link below if you missed it earlier. Here we have our Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg saying there's a real concern that's not limited to the technology itself, speaking of Autopilot, but the interaction between that technology and the driver. He did say this technology has a lot of promise, we just have to make sure it unfolds in a responsible fashion. We've talked a lot on the channel about how NHTSA has criticized Tesla for being ineffective at monitoring the driver engagement, which is why when Greenlee only reported that Tesla was going to start doing more with the in-cabin camera, that was going to be a great thing for Tesla when it comes to how NHTSA views them. I think we just need NHTSA and Pete to start following Greenlee only.
I don't think we're going to go back to the days a couple years ago of 100-day supply. So most people are in the 50-day supply range. I think the natural discounting for someone who has an older product is going to be in the thousands. You're starting to see now low APRs from a lot of brands who have older product.
How do you get from 8% on your EV business, you want to do 10% overall, to like the 17% that Tesla has? Do you get up there, or do they, you think, eventually see margin pressure?
It's a good question. Both are going to happen. We're seeing, look at what's happening in China with BYD. Look what's happening with Tesla. They've reduced their prices on Model Y, their main product, $5,000-$7,000. It goes up, it goes down, but it's pretty far down. Where we compete really in EV, pickup trucks, 3-row crossovers that we're going to show people today, and the commercial vehicle, EV commercial vehicles, we don't see as much price, competition because there's not as many vehicles choices there. And we've seen that on Lightning. Lightning's price has actually increased over the last 2 years mightily, while the Mustang Mach-E has been more competitive. I think vertical integration is going to be the theme of the day because the gearboxes, the electric motors, the inverters, the whole electric architecture, we've farmed out to all of our suppliers for decades. We're bringing all that in now, especially the software inside the company. And it's hard, but it helps with the cost. And we think all those are difference makers. So we want to be doing those things and solving the hardest problems at Ford. What we've learned about software in the company is kind of really different than we expected. What we've learned is that you need to get the A players because they attract A players. And software is not like mechanical engineering where you can kind of hire X amount of people to do X amount of work. Software, the best people actually do it with less people. We're taking back our electric architecture. With the 150 modules we have today, all the suppliers write different software for. They buy the silicon, we don't. So we're taking all that back into the company. And that means we can make it completely software updatable, and it's our software. That means we can change anything. We can design it just like we want, and we spec the silicon ourselves. The second thing is, it's just radically simpler engineering. The battery turns out to be so expensive that it's required us to completely re-engineer the vehicle in a way we probably should have done years ago.
Everywhere you look, Tesla is being copied. As I always say, success leaves clues. And props to Ford for doing the right thing and making the hard choices in the short term. Fun fact about Tesla you may not know, the Model S and X use accelerometers on the chassis to measure road noise frequencies, which are canceled out via the speakers. I haven't yet seen the whole video. However, if you want to really nerd out on the Tesla heat pump system, I'll put this video from Weber Auto below. Tomorrow, Wednesday at 6 p.m., Ron DeSantis is going to do a live interview with Elon Musk on a Twitter Spaces to announce his presidential campaign. A judge has dismissed a proposed class action lawsuit against Elon. This was involving Twitter, claiming that he actually cheated the Twitter shareholders. Luckily, Elon, at least for now, will not have to waste any time on this one. You can find me on Twitter at DylanLoomis22. Hope you guys have a wonderful day. Please like the video if you did, and a huge thank you to all of my Patreon supporters.